Sorry about that, you guys. My bad. Hey, everybody. Come on in. Sorry about that delay. Y'all look. We are here to talk about Next Gen NYC. This is season 1, episode 7. And let me be honest and tell you, this episode is the reason why I didn't want to review this show. They sucked me in with that first episode with all the clips floating around. And I was like, well, maybe I do want to talk about this show. Maybe I do want to. But this episode is the exact reason why I did not want to review this show. One, I really just feel like the demographic is just below me. Not below me status-wise, but age-wise, right? I just feel like age-wise, because this episode was a combination of y'all are arguing about shit that when you get to my age ain't that deep, or you see from a different perspective. And then the whole Riley of it all. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm not gonna sit here and act like Riley's the only one that is having a hard time, because last week it was Charlie. The week before that, it was Charlie. Then it was Georgia. So I'm not saying Riley's the only one, but what I feel like, and again, I'm a Black woman, so I'm going to see it from a Black woman's perspective, right? I feel like with Charlie, I feel like it was warranted, right? Charlie's been nasty. Charlie's been doing stuff. Charlie's been creating these moments. With Georgia, I feel like it was warranted. Girl, you wasn't washing your hands. People gonna talk shit about you not washing your hands. So I feel like with other people, it was warranted. But with Riley, I feel like they're grasping. I feel like they are really grasping. And if the rumors are true about Gia being fired, I'm glad. You need to be. You should be. Because you are really trying to create moments. You are really trying to create moments. The one thing I will say, and be, I don't want to see somebody's gonna take what I'm getting ready to say the wrong way. I'm already anticipating somebody taking what I'm getting ready to say the wrong way. The one thing I will give Charlie credit for is I think Charlie is being exactly who he is. I don't think Charlie is trying to create a moment. I don't think Charlie is trying to go viral. I don't think he's trying to create a soundbite. Whereas with Gia, I believe that is exactly what she's doing. And I feel the same way about Georgia. So let's get into this episode, because child, they was they getting on my nerves. What legal trouble is Gia in? You said Gia couldn't really film much due to the legal trouble. What legal trouble? Lady of Soul, tell me. I don't know nothing about Gia being in no legal trouble. And let me tell y'all this. Yesterday, I posted on my Instagram. I got the from the Dunkin' Donuts. They have this drink called the Summer Refreshers or something. They have like a strawberry shortcake one, and then they have a peach mango one. I got the peach mango one the other day. It was absolutely delicious. Today, I got the strawberry one. It's okay. It's not as good as the peach mango. But anyway, thank me later. Go get you one. Hey, JB, what's up, boo? One time for the birthday boy. 2 times for... I know. I've been saying happy birthday to JB for a week. But y'all know how us Cancers are about our birthdays. So it is what it is. JB is the birthday boy this week. Ooh. Now, see, Quake, why are you asking me questions about how many calories? I don't know. Gia got kicked out of school. The scandal about her mom cheating to get her in school. I ain't know nothing about that. I did hear about where they were trying to say Gia cheated, but I didn't know anything. I didn't know Teresa had anything to do with it. Oh, I missed all of that. I did hear, and I didn't really do any research to figure it out, but I did hear in the wind. Your birthday was yesterday. Well, beautiful me. 1 time for the birthday. You birthday girl. 2 times for the birthday girl. And if I'm wrong, my bad. So y'all wish beautiful me a birthday in the chat as well. Thank you. Yes, Cancer season. She was caught cheating at Rutgers, but she didn't already graduated. So what they gonna do about it? Nothing. She already graduated from Rutgers. Because She was supposed to be going to law school. I knew that law school thing was a lie when they said, well, let me not say I knew it was a lie. I felt like it was a lie. Having had friends that went to law school and my having people in my family go to law school, I already felt like that whole law school thing was some bullshit. I think she thought she was going to do the Kim Kardashian thing and go that route that Kim Kardashian is going, like do the do where you get a mentor and you could just pass the LSAT and you can sort of sidestep some stuff. I think she thought that's what she was going to do because she was allegedly already working at a law firm and all that other stuff. Anyway, let's get into this episode. So, what up, Cruiser Bruiser? So it's the next day. The night of the night of the dinner, it seemed like it continued to go in that direction. We had Riley upset, Georgia upset because she felt like everybody at the table was just giving Charlie a pass, and they were just moving through and giving Charlie a pass. It's somebody else's birthday. Happy birthday, Robin. Oh, you were 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven. 7 even back door little Joe. Every time I hear 7-Eleven, that's what I hear. I mean, other than the store 7-Eleven. Anyway, she was running a ghostwriting company. Damn. She lost the degree. Hold on, I need to Google this. Like I said, I heard remnants, but I didn't know nothing about that. All right. Hold on. Let me go. See, y'all done got me all sidetracked. See how y'all get me? Gia Giudice school scandal. It popped right up too. School scandal. It popped right up too. School scandal. Okay, let me see what's going on here. All right. All I keep saying is, okay, let me see what this says. It says why she's no longer going to law school. So let me say this. When it comes to the Real Housewives, child, we all off topic. Anyway, when it comes to the Real Housewives of New Jersey royalty, Giudice family never fails to make headlines right now. The main topic of discussion is Teresa and her husband, Louis. They talking about the legal issues. Okay, before all of the financial chaos, there was immigration issue. Okay. And that's where Gia Giudice comes in. The oldest Giudice daughter, who now holds a degree in criminal justice, announced right after her undergrad graduation she planned to attend law school. She even got a job working in immigration. Although Gia revealed in 2024 that she was taking a break from law school, it was assumed that with this tax chaos, she'd be getting back to studying any day now. During a recent episode of her podcast, shockingly, she revealed that she isn't continuing law anytime soon. All right, I'm going to have to look it up because I don't want to take up too much time, but I don't see anything up here about it. Oh, here it is right here. Hold on. Gia is faced with charges of... Okay, here it is right here. Gia faced with... Damn it. All these damn pop-ups. Okay.
The Florida coast.
Okay.
Verbo.
They go that ad. Of using an academic ghostwriting service operated by a distant relative of Louis Ruelas within the Rutgers University system. Caused a stir when Gia Giudice, the oldest daughter of Teresa, was accused of being involved in an organized academic essay ghostwriting scheme. What's even more shocking is that the service is allegedly secretly run by a distant relative of Gia's stepfather, Louis. A source from Rutgers University confirmed that an internal investigation was opened after the school board received an anonymous complaint that a group of students, including Gia, had used the professional ghostwriting service to complete important papers last semester. The source said that the service was not a sporadic ghostwriting service, but operated as a real company with Venmo, PayPal system, and fake accounts. After further investigation, A name unexpectedly appeared on the list of accounts receiving money, which was an LLC company registered by a distant relative of Louis Ruelas. According to the initial investigation, at least 6 students in the School of Social Sciences and Communications have admitted to using the service in the past 2 years. School authorities have requested that all of the essays in question be compared with actual writing samples of students and that the IP address and internal system login histories be checked. Sophomore communication student Teresa Judice, Lord, I said Teresa. Gia Judice was placed after special supervision after one of her essays was allegedly copied verbatim from a paid reference material with 96% of the same wording. Notably, her handwriting samples on practice tests were significantly different from the electronic essays submitted to her instructors. Okay. The company behind the ghostwriting service was founded in New Jersey using an address that's registered with an online marketing company. Da 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 da. So here's what I'm gonna say about this. I see what y'all are saying. I hear what y'all are saying. But she already graduated. It says that this was when she was a sophomore. Maybe we're just finding out about it now, but this says that she was a sophomore when this happened. It says that Gia could be suspended for a semester or forced to leave depending on the severity of the violation. The fact that she graduated tells me that she was cleared. That don't mean she was innocent, but that means she was cleared. I mean, I think it's one of those things that it happened 3 years ago, but we're just finding out about it now. But if she was a sophomore when that happened and she graduated 2 years ago, that tells me that that she was cleared. At least that's what I'm understanding. Maybe there's a different understanding, but that's what I'm getting out of this. Now, if she was still there, I'd be like, okay, but she graduated. So they wouldn't have given her degree if in her sophomore year it was suspected that she cheated, and like they wouldn't have given her degree. They'd have kicked her out of school. Now she might have been put under academic probation or something like that. But they didn't kick her out of school and they allowed her to graduate. So she has a degree from Rutgers. That's what it looks like to me. Now, if it's something different, let me know. But that's what it looks like to me. All right, let's get to this episode, child. Not Teresa got with a dumber Joe. It also says Andy suspended her from Bravo. Hold on. Because I just saw that a second ago. Hold on. Since we here, let's talk about it. Hold on, y'all. Because I did see that when I was searching Gia Judice. I heard that it was rumored that she was fired. Hold on. Let me see what Andy said. Because I think they said that Andy did address it. Gia Judice fired. Let me see. All right. These damn pop-up ads. Hold on, y'all. Here it is right here. Andy Cohen addresses rumor he fired Gia Judice from the Next Gen NYC over inappropriate behavior with co-stars. Andy reacted to rumors that he fired Gia Judice over inappropriate behavior. Meanwhile, Gia addressed the firing claim. She also addressed the rumor that she used an underground writing business. According to a June 1 report, Gia allegedly... Okay, I ain't reading all that again. I want to see what Andy said. Okay, so it says here, Andy Cohen said, "This is the first I'm hearing of any discord surrounding Gia, and I certainly only have positive feelings for Gia and her mom, Teresa." The co-host then asked, "So has there been any? So there has not been any inappropriate behavior with co-stars from Gia?" Andy said, "Nothing that I've heard of. No. And by the way, I love Next Gen NYC. He didn't say he fired her. But to be fair, he's not going to say that. Andy Cohen has never spoken on personnel issues while a show is still going on. As long as this season is still happening, Andy is not going to address any personnel issues. Bravo doesn't do that. Bravo doesn't do that. Walk graduation, but degree not giving. I don't understand what that means, lovely soul. She probably was allowed to walk while the case was ongoing. No, this article says this happened in her sophomore year. It does not take 2.5 years to do an investigation. She must have been cleared. Now, this had happened her senior year, but let me tell you something. Colleges don't do that. A college is not going to let you walk while they're pending an investigation for you cheating. You're going to have to walk in the December graduation. Colleges don't do that. Hey, Don, what's up, boo? Especially not a college like Rutgers where their reputation is on the line. Oh, absolutely not. They're not going to let her walk. Absolutely. They don't care if she's Teresa Giudice. Teresa Giudice ain't a big enough star for them to put their reputation on the line. Now, maybe if it was like Donald Trump's son or something like that, but not Teresa Giudice. Absolutely not. They don't give a damn. Now, like I said, if this had been, but no, she graduated. I feel like now that doesn't mean she wasn't guilty. That means that whatever they found in the investigation, they allowed her to, like I said, they might have put her on academic probation or something like that. But according to the article I just read, they said this happened in her sophomore year, which means that not only did she continue at Rutgers for another 2 years, but she graduated, and she graduated 2 years ago. Gia's graduated 2 years ago from college. So I walked before all grades were in and failed a class and had to retake before a degree was awarded. Your college might be different. I'm telling you, they don't do that now. And here's why I'm saying they don't do that now. Because now grades are immediate. See, back then, I say back then, I'm saying, but grades are immediate now. Like literally, no, they'll let you get your cap and gown. They'll let you invite your parents. They'll let you do all of that. And they will literally pull you out the line. I promise you, I've seen them do it. So, and especially not a school like Rutgers. I'm sorry, they ain't, no. Nah. And as far as her being fired, Andy didn't say she was fired. Now that doesn't mean she wasn't, but Andy didn't say that because I think somebody said Andy said he fired her. No, he didn't. And Andy doesn't do that. You've never seen Bravo speak on personnel issues while the show was pending. Once the show is over, once they've showed you all episodes, you'll get the information, but they don't do that. They don't do that. Generally, it has to be an extreme situation. Y'all might be able to give me an example, but it would have to be an extreme example. An extreme example for them to speak on somebody's personnel, on a personnel issue stream. Anyway, let's get to this episode, child. I'm gonna have to you going to text me? All right, well, text me as soon as I'm done here. Or text me now so I know what you want. Because you know I'm nosy. So I know what you're texting me about. Okay. So we pick up where we left off, y'all. Child. And it looks like they continue to have a good time at the casino that night. Riley said a couple of rude things to Charlie because, she wanted to gamble. And she was like, even though I hate you right now, can you teach me how to play craps? Now, I'm going to be honest. That was rude as fuck, Riley. Like to tell somebody I hate you, but can you show me how to do something? And then she was like, well, that's a little bit harsh. I shouldn't say I hate you. I just don't like you right now. But can you show me how to play craps? Again, I don't think it's that deep. I don't think it's that serious. I don't think it needed to have a moment. But I do feel like production showed us that in light of what we end up talking about later on in the episode, right? So I feel like that's why production gave us that moment, right? So then we also see that Hudson pulled Charlie aside and addressed the comments that Charlie made about Ariana. And of course, Charlie switched it up, and instead of saying, yeah, I said I would sleep with your girlfriend if given the opportunity, he was like, well, she is beautiful. I mean, your girlfriend is hot. Like, she's beautiful. That's all I was saying, was that she was beautiful. Nah, Charlie, that ain't what you said. Stand in what you said, Charlie. Because what you said was you would sleep with that, you would sleep with her if given the opportunity. And even after somebody was like, she got a whole boyfriend, you were like, oh, well, that ain't got nothing to do with me. That ain't what you said, Charlie, but it's okay. You know, everybody saw the playback of the episode, so everybody saw what I saw. Okay. Now, La Queen saying Andy trying to keep income in that household. Exactly. That's another reason why I feel like Gia would have to do something extreme to get fired. We're not going to forget that Bravo was the whole network that paused the whole show while Teresa was in jail. Like, they paused the Real Housewives of New Jersey while Teresa was in jail. So it would have to be extreme. That doesn't mean it's not. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. It would just have to be extreme. But anyway, so we find out that Georgia actually stayed at the hotel where her boyfriend got a hotel room at the casino, and it's the high rollers room, which means that he either got a comp room or he paid a lot of money for that hotel room, right? Sweet. And if he got it comped, that means that he gambles enough at that hotel to get a comp high rollers room. Now, people get comped hotel rooms all the time, but to get comp a high roller suite, there's a little bit of cha-ching involved in that. Okay, let's just call a thing a thing. So Riley is going over to the hotel with Georgia and going to hang out at the cabana with Georgia over at the hotel, while the rest of the crew is getting ready to go down to the beach. Now, yeah, that's pretty much all that happened there. So we get to the hotel. Riley, gets to the hotel. Now, Riley was supposed to bring Georgia some clothes. And I don't know if Riley forgot, because we saw her packing the bag to take it. So I don't know if Riley forgot to take the bag or they just didn't show us on camera. And the reason why I bring that up is important. We'll get to that in a second, why I bring that up. So then, we get to they're going at the beach. They're getting on like a water taxi. They're taking a ride around the beach, and they're going to play some water sports or whatever. It was so Brooks, Charlie, and Christian, they were all having conversations about dating and marriage and kids and that kind of thing. And then the ladies were having a conversation, and they were talking about I think they were still talking about Georgia and what had happened the night before with Charlie, and why it became a whole thing. While this is going on, Charlie is still trying to find Ava. Baby, Ava is in New York living her best life. She is not thinking about coming down to the shore. Once again, she gives us that bullshit story about having to go to the Hamptons for an event for the Dolce & Gabbana. But the reality is, we did not see you in the Hamptons at no point in time that weekend. And Charlie even texted her and was like, girl, I have your location on. You're still in New York. Like, you're still in Manhattan. You should have came. Like, you haven't left for the Hamptons yet. You could have come down here for a day or two. At the end of the day, Ava didn't want to. We're just going to call a thing a thing. Ava didn't want to. And I told y'all before, I don't even think Ava is all that concerned about this show. I don't think Ava cares about this show. I don't think Ava is interested in being on this show. I really, at this point now, feel like her daddy made her do it. Because I feel like we don't see a scene with Ava without Damon Dash coming in there at some point in time, right? So I feel like this was something that her daddy wanted her to do, or maybe she needed the check. Maybe it was easy money and she needed the check. But Ava is unconcerned and unbothered, okay? And if this show does come back for a second season, I absolutely do not expect. I thought I gave you that information, Abby. I thought I gave you that information. All right, I get it. I send it to you again when I get off of here. But I think it's in the afternoon. I just don't know the exact time. I think it's at like 4:00 or something like that. Ava was dry on Growing Up Hip Hop. Yeah, she was. She didn't really give us anything on but in Growing Up Hip Hop, to be fair, her brother sort of overshadowed. Like everything that was going on with Boogie sort of overshadowed anything she thought she was going to do. But you're right. Ava didn't give us nothing. Hold on, y'all. I got to take this call. Hold on. Hello. Hey, what's up? No. Sorry about that, y'all. Got some stuff going on in my family, so that's why I had to answer the phone. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. So while the people are out on the water, back over to the beach. Back over to the hotel. Georgia and Riley, they're bonding. Riley lets us know that she deals with anxiety, and I don't know if that's something I've ever really that Riley has ever really opened up about. So we found out that Riley deals with anxiety, and she said that sometimes it just hits her out of nowhere that she starts shaking and she gets really anxious about things. And again, I think that's a little important as it relates to again what we see later on in this episode. So they go down to the cabana, they have mimosas, they talk, they hang out a little bit or whatever, and then they head out to the beach. Now they get to the beach as the boats are coming back in from where the rest of the crew was kind of, like I said, on like the little water taxi thing. They come back, they're coming at the same time. Georgia is literally been walking around in this robe all day. She went to the cabana in the robe. And I didn't really think nothing of her being in the cabana in the robe because I really thought she had her bathing suit on underneath it, right? They go down to the beach and she's literally walking down the walking down the plank, I guess, for lack of a better word, to where the rest of the crew is, and she has on the robe from the hotel and slippers. Girl, what is wrong with you? See, in my mind, Georgia, now you're trying too hard. Like that first episode where you were like, I don't believe in washing my hands, and that's just not how I was raised, and girl, now you're just trying too hard, because in what world is that a good idea? And then Riley trips and drops her phone in the water, girl. And so she was like, oh my gosh, anybody that jump in the water and get my phone, I'll give him $1,000. So here goes Charlie. Charlie, the first one to get up to jump in the water, talking about $1,000. I'll do it. Here go Riley in her confessional. The fact that Charlie was the first one to jump up to get that $1,000, I'm never getting my money back. Like, As fast as you got up to get him that $1,000, I'm never getting my money back that you owe me, right? So then, Georgia's like, oh, well, I'll jump in, but I don't have on I'm topless. So on top of the fact that you walking around with a robe on, you're topless. So you don't have on nothing underneath the robe other than because I don't think it's your bikini bottoms. I think it's just your underwear and slippers. Girl, that's like you're literally on the beach with other people around you. Like you can't think that was cute. So then she's going to say, well, I would jump in, but I don't have anything on. So Charlie was like, oh, you could put on my t-shirt. Mind you, Charlie's got a white wife beater. So what does that mean? So then she's going to put the shirt on. She's literally flashing the beach topless. Girl, you are not at a nude beach where that's acceptable. You are literally at a beach where there are kids and families walking around. Nobody wants to see your little, peekaboos, okay? So then she jumps in the water with Charlie's shirt on, and of course, it's a white t-shirt. So the minute she gets out of the water, what happens? We can see right through it. You might as well not have had nothing on. Again, girl, you're trying too hard. You're trying too hard. So they play around with the little water sports thing, and then they go back. And then they go back, right? Riley and Candy talked about on Real Housewives of Atlanta. I must have missed it. That was years ago. Beautiful Me. I just must have missed it. Or I might not have thought maybe I don't know. I must have missed it. Oh, that's the other thing. What's her name? Amira. She told the crew how she felt about Georgia making the comments about oh, your Ozempic must have ran out. And she was like, you just don't know what kind of issues people are dealing with their bodies and when it comes to food. And that was just rude for her to say. And, why would she say that? And yada, yada, yada. So that's the other conversation they had. So they go back to the house. And again, I was just like, now I feel like Georgia is just trying too hard. Now I feel like she's trying to have a moment and looking for a moment. Baby, poor Riley. Baby, Riley has no coordination. Okay, Riley was flipping and dipping and twipping and twirling all over those water sports. It was like an obstacle course on the water, and looked like it was real fun. But poor Riley couldn't stay. She couldn't stay on her feet, child. She kept falling and sliding into the water, which was really hilarious because, girl, you might as well jump in the water and try to look for your own phone for as much as you ended up in the water trying to do that obstacle course, child. So they get back to the house. They have a chef coming in that's going to cook dinner for Brooks's birthday. And of course, everybody's getting in glam, getting their makeup done, the outfit. And it's supposed to be like Jersey Shore night. So everybody's supposed to have on like an outfit that, is like the stereotypical Jersey Shore type vibe or whatever. So that was cute, So we get to the dinner and Georgia starts telling the people. Right, it was V. Spencer. It was like watching an episode of Wipeout. That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it reminded me of. Good. That's a good one. That's a very good comparison. So Georgia starts telling the table about her idea to open up a club. Now, I thought she just wanted to have a party at this bowling alley. I didn't know that was her idea of a club situation at the bowling alley. With like a club / bowling alley vibe. Now, to be fair, we kind of already have that business model. Where I don't know if you guys have it, but we have like Bar Louie that has the bowling alley and they've got the bar and then they play the funky music and turn the lights out and all that kind of stuff. It's not an actual club, but it's got like a party vibe. And then they have there's another place that they've opened up recently in our area, which sort of has that same vibe, right? It sort of has that same vibe. Now, here's what I find to be interesting. As Georgia is talking about this business, everybody is giving everybody the same look. Like, this is stupid. Everybody's confessional is saying the same thing. Like, yeah, I wouldn't want to go there. Yeah, that's not my vibe. Yeah, I don't think I would do that. And She's very Miss Fizzle-like. Riley said she wasn't jumping in that dirty water. Hell, she ended up in the dirty water. She ended up in the dirty water. Child's the same water. So with that being said, I'm sorry, y'all, I keep getting distracted. With that being said, Georgia then says, yeah, because my idea is that, you know, it's going to be like a cafeteria style where you go to pick your food up. When you order food, it'll be like, you're like 1940s, 1950s vibe where you put on a cafeteria tray and then you just go through the line. Like, and so it was at that point that Riley said, Georgia, and then she stops and she was like, never mind. Well, y'all know the minute you say something and you stop, everybody's like, girl, say it. Like, you done started now, finish the sentence. So Riley says, Georgia, I think that's a dumb idea. Now, maybe because I have been accused of not having a gatekeeper, that whatever I'm thinking tends to come out my mouth sometime, and I have to be very careful about what I say and how I say it. And I'm a lot better now than I used to be, because when I was in my 20s, I probably said stuff the same way Riley says things. Riley is very blunt, and I feel like whatever she's thinking, it comes out. In that moment, we saw Riley try to edit herself because I think she knew that what she was getting ready to say was harsh. And could there have been a nicer way of saying that? Sure. But literally, Riley was saying what everybody at the table was thinking. Riley said what everybody said in their confessional. So in my mind, at least Riley said it to that girl's face and didn't say it behind her back like the rest of y'all did. Riley told that girl to her face, listen, you 20-something years old. I mean, I'm adding this part. You're 20-something years old. You have a boyfriend that is willing to foot a bill for you to help you open up your dream. I just want this to be a good dream. I just want this to be fully thought out and fully, vexed out. And girl, that's dumb. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. Now, could there have been a nicer way for her to say it? Absolutely, there was a nicer way for her to say it. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I didn't think it deserved where Gia went, because now Gia decides to clock in. And again, I think you're looking for a moment. I think you're looking for a soundbite. I think you're looking for a meme, right? Because now here comes Gia talking about Riley, well, when you drink, ... Now, y'all know, especially when we're on reality shows, especially when you know that whatever you do, people are going to be, people are going to be focused in and zoomed in on everything you do and say. The minute you come out your mouth, it's like, well, when you drink, now it's like you're insinuating that Riley has a drinking problem. You're insinuating that Riley has a drinking problem, okay? And she was like, well, and so Riley gets upset and she walks away from the table. And I get it. I absolutely get it, because like she told Shy, who went after her, by the way, and I appreciate the fact that Shy went after Riley, right? He the only one that got up from that table and went to go talk to Riley. I appreciate that, right? But what pisses me off is I understood where she was coming from, because she was like, I didn't walk away because she said, I walked away because I'm mad. She was like, no, she said, I'm not crying because, what she said, I'm crying because I'm angry. And I understand that. I understand the angry cry. There's a difference between hurt cry and angry cry, okay? She knows exactly what that could mean. And Riley is the only true Black woman on the show. #problematic. Okay. So for me, I was just like, and then Adriana was like, well, wait a minute, Gia. Like, she was like, all I'm saying is I've been around Riley, and there's a difference in Riley from when she's drinking to when she's not drinking. Like, she's a lot more, her words are a lot harsher when she's been drinking. She's like, and I mean, she's been drinking all day. And Adriana was like, well, to be fair, we've all been drinking. Like, everybody here has been drinking all weekend. Like, that is what we've been doing. So don't single her out and make it seem like she's the only one that's been drinking, because we've all been drinking. And the reality is, most of us, when we are drinking, our inhibitions drop. So if I were going to say something sober, it may come out a little bit nicer versus not sober, because I don't have the alcohol has lowered that, lowered my inhibitions a little bit. And now whatever I'm thinking, it's just coming out. It's just coming out. But to make it or insinuate that there's a drinking problem, I got an issue with that. And I appreciate the fact that Ariana had her back. And I feel like the rest of the table sort of had sort of had her back as well. But what pissed me off was when Riley came back and apologized to Gia. You didn't have shit to apologize for. Gia should have been apologizing to you. I didn't like that. That pissed me off. It pissed me off. So then Amira, I did this out of order because this happened actually before the Riley thing. Amira actually told Georgia, listen, well, if you are going to open up an establishment that includes food, please don't please don't talk to your patrons about what they're eating. And she brought up the example of the Red Robin. And Georgia was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then literally went right back to talking about this club that she wants to open up and all of her ideas and stuff. And again, everybody at the table is kind of looking at each other like, girl, did you like, you're not going to address it. You're just going to let that go right over your head. You're going to just go back to talking about food after this woman just told you what you said was offensive. And why would you, like, it just seemed like there was no pause there. They didn't get along now, so that apology was a moot point. They don't get along now? Is that what you're saying? I don't think anybody really gets along with Gia. And that's the other thing. Gia didn't even halfway film. And every time Gia came around, she was causing problems. In my mind, every time Gia came around, she was causing issues. But anyway. So later on in the night, they're talking at the table. It's Shy. It's Candy. I mean, Lord, I keep saying Candy. It's Riley, Shy, and it's Georgia. The rest of the people are in other parts of the house. And they're talking about the club thing again. And Riley again apologizes for like how she said it. She was like, I apologize. It was kind of harsh what I was saying. The way it came out was very harsh. And, I do apologize for that. So in the midst of her apologizing for being so harsh about the situation, I think Sha said something about the privilege that Georgia has in order to be able to be in a position to open up this club. And basically, the way Riley said it might have been a little harsh, but her criticism is kind of valid. Like, I feel like Sha was trying to say, look, the way she said it was a bit harsh, but let's really look at this. Let's really flesh this out, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that this is a success, because you're privileged to be in a position to be, 20-something years old and to be getting ready to open up a club. I'm not privileged. What do you mean? I only have like $4,000 in my bank account right now. What are you talking about? I'm poor. I'm this. I'm that. And again, I'm back at Georgia. You want to be that person. You want to be the poor little rich kid on the show. Oh, I'm the poor one. All the rest of you guys have it so easier than me. You guys have this. You guys have that. You guys have that. And I'm the poor one. And I don't have this and I don't have that. Now, let me be clear. We all can play the your blues ain't like mine game. We all can play the I got it so bad, woe is me card, right? But just as easily as you said, I only have $4,000 in my bank account, there are some people who got $4 in their bank account. There's some people who have negative $400 in their bank account. So it's all relative. But like Sha said, he said, but listen, look at where you are right now. Like you're literally in this probably $1 million house on the Jersey Shore celebrating your friend's birthday. This is a privilege. And there's a difference between privilege and being like a Nepo baby. And I think Georgia looks around her and thinks all of these people come from money and I don't come from money, and I don't have what they have. But Georgia, here's what we're not going to do. You literally, by your own admission, told us that both of your parents were lawyers. Your parents had a very successful business until 9/11. And really probably after 9/11, because you said that 9/11 changed things for your dad. But I don't think the business went under with 9/11. And I understand that with your age, 9/11, you were probably still a baby when 9/11 happened. So you don't remember living a privileged, like a rich person's life or upper middle class life. I get that. But what we are not going to do is sit here and pretend like both of your parents being attorneys and being able to provide a certain level of lifestyle isn't a privilege. It absolutely is a privilege. It absolutely is a privilege. And let's be clear, Georgia, you choose to struggle as hard as you struggle because you don't want to work a 9-to-5 job. You made a comment a couple of episodes ago talking about, this generation, we don't want to work for other people. We don't want to have a boss. And she was like, my goal is to never have a boss again. Well, then you're choosing to struggle because the reality is you can work a 9-to-5 job and still work on your dreams and still be an entrepreneur. Now, I'm not mad at you for taking a chance on you, taking a chance on yourself. I'm not mad at you for saying, hey, I'm gonna put all my, I'm in my 20s. I don't have any responsibilities other than taking care of myself. So I'm gonna bet on myself. I don't have no problem with that. But there's a difference between saying privilege and rich. Those are two different things. And that's all they were trying to get you to understand is that there's a privilege, and where you are right now in your life, the circles that you move in, you said you don't pay to get into a nightclub in New York. That's a privilege that you have created that environment. That is, all of that is privilege. And you are so stuck on wanting to be the poor kid and wanting to have that moniker as the poor kid of the group. You're so stuck on that. Just like with the speaker situation. And I know I've already talked about this, but the fact that you didn't feel like it was worth you prioritizing giving that boy his he's a man, giving that man his speakers back just because in your mind, they're just some old $20 speakers. It's not a big deal. Yes, it is, because they were his $20 speakers. And it doesn't matter that you feel like Charlie can just run down to the store and buy another set of speakers. He shouldn't have to, because he already has speakers that he let you borrow that you didn't give back when you said you were going to give them back. And no, he was wrong for cussing you out and calling you out your name. Yes, he was absolutely wrong for that. But the flip side is you were wrong for how you handled the situation, in my opinion. Now, so Riley was trying to explain all of this to Georgia, and Georgia gets an attitude, and Georgia, she was like, well, you come from this and you've got that and I've got this. And Riley was trying to explain to her everything that I just said. So then Riley says, are you dumb? Like, are you like, and she was like, don't call me dumb. She was like, bitch, I didn't call you dumb. I asked you, were you dumb? Now, to be fair, you didn't technically call that woman dumb, but So then she was like, oh my gosh, Riley, you just did the same thing that Charlie did. You just called me out my name. Girl, don't do that. Now you're going to turn on the white woman tears. And now Riley is the big bad wolf. Once again, now Riley is the big bad wolf because she called you a bitch. Now, she did call you a bitch. She did. And I don't have no defense for it because, for some people, that's a trigger. It's not a trigger for me. But for some people, it is a trigger. Like, the word bitch is a trigger for some people. Don't call them one. Don't insinuate it. Like, don't do it. Don't play that game. And I respect it because everybody's different. Everybody's different. I respect that that's a trigger for you. I can't tell somebody what's a trigger for them. I cannot tell somebody else what is a trigger for them. So I respect the fact that that is a trigger for you. But girl, and then here come Ariana. Ariana, now listen, you ain't been getting on my nerves for about 98% of this season. I've actually really enjoyed you, girl. But that was a moment where you should have just stayed in the corner and did what we like to call shut the fuck up. Because, girl, nobody asked you for your opinion. Nobody asked you to come in on that. You done came in at the tail end of that argument. You done came down the steps. You wasn't even in the kitchen. You wasn't even in the kitchen. You gonna come running down the steps and say, well, Riley, you can't. But Riley was like, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Absolutely not. And that's where the episode ended. And for those of you who came in late, I know we took a right turn at the beginning of this episode, child. This review has been crazy. We talked about Gia and the cheating scandal and all that stuff at the beginning of this live, which I had seen. Like I said, I had seen the blurbs about it, but I didn't take the time to really read an article on it. But neither here nor there. At the beginning of this review, I said this episode was the reason why I did not want to review this show. Because between the age gap, because again, they're arguing about shit that at this point in my life, me and my friend group, we just not arguing about. Like, me and my friend group understand privilege and we accept our privilege. And again, when I say privilege, I don't mean rich, because privilege and rich ain't the same thing. For example, I accept the fact that I came from a 2-parent household. I grew up middle class. Now, did my parents work their ass off? Absolutely. Were we rich? We absolutely were not. But I know I never had to worry about the phone getting cut off. I know that if I was in a school play, both my parents was going to be there. I know that come spring break, come summertime, I was going on vacation. I was going to be in summer camp. I knew that when I outgrew my pair of shoes, I was getting a new pair of shoes. You see what I'm saying? Stuff that I didn't have to think about that I now know is not an everyday thing for everybody. So I understand privilege, and I understand the difference between privilege and wealth. It's not the same. It's not. And me and my friends ain't going to sit here and argue about it because we all understand it's not the same. Me and my friends understand that just because you perceive that I can afford something doesn't mean you get to disrespect it. It doesn't mean that you get to take it for granted. Just because I perceive that a friend of mine has more money than me and I borrow something from them, it doesn't mean that I get to just bring it back when I feel like it, or feel like they are wrong for asking for it back when I said I was going to give it back. You see what I'm saying? We don't argue about that kind of shit because we get it. We too old for it. And the whole thing with Riley, by her being, and even though I know some of y'all feel like Ava's not black enough because she doesn't really stand, but I'm going to say this. Because I don't like, this is a personal thing, y'all. So I don't want anybody to be offended by what I'm getting ready to say. I don't like us. And when I say us, I mean us as black people. I don't like us deciding who's black enough. I don't like that. Because I feel like when I say we, I'm not talking about the people in this group, I'm saying in general. I feel like we do that when people are biracial. And I feel like we do that when we perceive that somebody hangs around white people or dates white people or talks a certain way or moves in certain circles. And I don't like that. I don't like that decision about who is black enough. I just don't like it. But I know people perceive Ava as not being in that same category as Riley, and that's fine. But for me, even if I feel like whatever category I feel like Ava is in, Ava ain't never there. So like she was there the day on the bus and she stood up for Riley. That day on the bus when Charlie and his microaggressions, she stood up for Riley. So I feel like if she's around and she understands the microaggression, I feel like she's there. But sometimes but here's the thing, Dollface. For me, I can't speak for you, baby. For me, I don't feel like I get to tell somebody how black they are. I just don't feel like I just don't feel like I have that privilege to tell somebody else I I can't give somebody their black card. We joke about the black card, you know what I mean? Like, we joke with people, oh, I'm gonna take your black card, this, that, and the other. But I don't feel like I am in a space where I have the right to tell somebody that they're black enough or they're not black enough. And I don't know what gave, like, when you say sometimes that's true, based on what? Based on what? Like, what's the checklist? You know what I mean? What's the checklist that we're using to gauge whether somebody's black enough or not? They date white people, they don't date white people. Do they talk, proper versus use slang? Do they listen to certain types of music versus hip hop and R&B? Do they dress a certain way versus? So you say based on experience. I don't know what that means. And I'm not coming at you. I'm just asking because I don't know what that means based on experience. I don't know what that means. So anyway, with that being said, though, I just feel like Ava's not there enough, even if, whatever. She's just not there. So Riley tends to be the only black person in the room most of the time, and so it just bothers me. And like I said, I don't know if G is coming back or not, but if G is not coming back, I don't even know if the show is coming back or not, honestly. But if Gia is not coming back, I'm fine with that because Gia has done nothing but irritate my soul. Georgia, you are trying too hard. You are really trying to be different. You're really trying to stand out. You're really trying to be the poor kid in this group of rich kids. Like, you really are trying to build up this storyline of you being the poor, the poor kid. Some criteria to use to determine when we need to teach non-black people on racism. Some criteria you use to determine when we need to teach non-black people on racism. I don't understand what that means, but okay, baby. Again, I can't tell you how to feel. That's how you feel. That's how you feel. But I'm saying for me, I don't like it. I don't like it. But again, I can't tell nobody. I cannot tell nobody how to feel. Feel how you feel, baby. But yeah, that was pretty much this episode, y'all. Excuse me, I didn't mean to slurp that in your ear. Yeah, Andy definitely, I feel like, wants it to come back. But I'm gonna be honest, I think Andy right now is vested in anything outside of the Housewives because I think he understands that the clock is ticking. I think Andy understands that the clock is ticking on Housewives. And he gonna ride it until there ain't no more gas left in the tank. Now, let's be clear. Bravo is gonna ride Housewives until there's no more gas left in that Housewives tank. But I think he understands that Bravo has got to invest in shows outside of the Housewives. And I think he also understands that they have to start appealing to a younger crowd. Because the Housewives crowd, even though most of us started watching Housewives maybe when we were in our 20s or 30s, we are now in our 40s and 50s. And our process, our thought process is different. And so I do think he definitely is invested in looking at shows outside of that Housewives franchise. It's just, that's smart. That's a smart thing to be. Hey, Lady Leatherneck. Okay, Lady Leatherneck. Thank you, Really B, for getting me through my workday. I love your recap, even when I don't know what's going on. Well, thank you for being here, my love. Thank you so much. Thank you. But yeah, you guys. So that's pretty much what it is. The Teacher Project will be doing an episode at 3:15. If you are not subscribed to the Teacher Project, please get subscribed. If you type in the Teacher Project 2.0, it pops right up. That's with myself and El Teddy. We talk about all things education. And today we're definitely going to be talking about the dismantling of the Department of Education and what that means for everybody. And some other things. So we'll be there at 3:15. And then tonight at 10:15-ish, I'll be doing the Real Housewives of Miami review, recap and review. Okay. So thank y'all for being here. And I appreciate you. I feel like Andy needs to start trying to make Gia happen. She doesn't have it. They need to bring back Family Karma. I never watched Family Karma, but I've heard a lot of people. I heard a lot of people loved Family Karma. Yeah. I mean, Martha's Vineyard, that's another one. Not sure why they got rid of Martha's Vineyard. Thank you, Don. Thank you, boo. There it is right there. He put the link in the chat. You guys meet us over there at 3:15. Thank you, boo. Dr. Dubrow. is pushing. Yeah, I heard they're trying to do a next gen LA. I could see them doing one. Like, and I think it would be really. I think LA next gen LA would be really good. Because when you think about the pool they have to pick from, even outside of Housewives, like it doesn't have to be all Housewives kids. But when you think about the pool of LA Nepo kids, I think it would be a good. I think that would be a good one. Now I'm gonna tell y'all, and I have told y'all for many, many, many years why these types of shows, why like housewife shows and stuff like that, don't work in DC. And what I mean by that is real DC people. Because like I've told y'all before, the Real Housewives of Potomac, not one of those people is from DC. Not a one. Potomac ain't even in DC. Potomac is a suburb in Maryland. Okay, Potomac is not even DC. When they did Ready to Love DC, probably out of the 2 seasons they did of Ready to Love, I would say 90 to 95% of those people are not from DC. They live in DC. Some of them moved to DC for jobs or college and stuff like that, but they're not from DC. They tried to do the Real Housewives of DC and it only lasted for 1 season. So, but I think a show like this could work. And the reason why, again, is because for a lot of the reasons that I tell y'all that a Housewives franchise or certain reality shows don't work in DC is because of the different elements about what people do for a living and their their clearance status and all that kind of stuff. I think if you're focusing on a group of entrepreneurs and people that work for themselves, which is really the premise of this show, is people that are doing their own thing and not following the regular 9-to-5 grind and that kind of stuff, I think they could probably get a group of young 20-something-year-olds that are doing their own thing, that are entrepreneurs and stuff like that, that will participate in this show. I think they could. Now, it wouldn't look the same as New York, and it wouldn't look the same as a LA as far as like what they do for a living. But yeah, they had Housewives of DC, but it wasn't successful. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying successful. They tried it and it only lasted for 1 season. Nobody watched it because it was boring. And why was it boring? Because people are not going to get on there and act a fool because they have too much to lose. And again, I've already had that conversation, child, about why DC is different. I already had that conversation. But that's why it didn't work. And Potomac, it's in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, but not one of those women. The closest they came was Katie. Katie was the only one that actually was, her family is Black upper class bourgeoisie in DC. She's the only one. And you see, she was only there for 1 season. And Katie was the black sheep of her family. Katie didn't go with the grind, she went against the grain. I think I was the only one of the 5 that watched DC. Right. I think I watched like the first 2 or 3 episodes and I was like, yeah, I can't do this. Candy said it felt odd on Watch What Happens Live because Riley had her own dressing room. I know that's right, Riley. Yes, girl. Yes. Katrina said, I liked it. I guess I'm boring. That doesn't make you boring. I mean, but a lot of people felt like it was boring, but that doesn't make you boring. Yep. All right, y'all. I'm going to get out of here. So I'll be back in about an hour over on the Teacher Project 2.0. Donna said, I watched DC. It was so different. And the thing is this. It's nothing wrong that they weren't pulling hair and screaming and hollering all the time. But y'all know how, and we've had that conversation before too. Y'all know. Y'all know that that's what people want. Y'all know whenever there's an episode where people ain't screaming or hollering, oh, this was a filler episode. This episode was boring. So that's what I mean when I say boring. I'm not saying that, I didn't watch it, to be fair. I didn't watch it. Like I said, I watched the first couple of episodes and then I just kind of went on with my life. I didn't watch it no more. But yeah. All right, y'all. I'm about to get out of here. Moving right along. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.